Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. The German sleep experiment circa 1942 is a horror story claiming that German scientists conducted a cruel experiment on prisoners, depriving them of sleep for days to observe the effects. This image represents one of the visions those prisoners experienced. On May 21, 1945, Colonel Byrd ordered the burning of the last hut at the Belsen camp. Before the fire, a rifle salute was fired in honor of the victims. Inside, a German flag and a portrait of the German leader were placed, symbolizing the regime's end. Allied troops landed in Western Europe on June 6, 1944. Approximately 156,000 soldiers reached the Normandy beaches in France, facing defensive positions. In 1944, a German spy was found behind American lines wearing a U.S. uniform. Two others were captured along with him. The use of infiltrated spies was common during the conflict. A family walks hand in hand at a public pool during the 1940s. All wore protective masks issued as a safety measure for civilians. American soldiers landed on the Normandy coast in France on June 6, 1944. They faced challenges as they advanced through fortified areas. This operation was part of a joint effort to liberate Western Europe. Soviet soldiers advanced through the rubble of Stalingrad in the fall of 1942. The city lay in ruins after intense fighting from August 1942 to February 1943. Marines of the 28th Regiment, 5th Marine Division, raised the flag on Mount Suribachi on February 23, 1945. This event took place during the capture of a key position in the Pacific Ocean. Special cribs for baby gas masks are shown in England in 1942. During World War II, these devices were developed to protect infants in case of chemical attacks. On July 28, 1944, in Coutances, France, a Jeep from the 4th U.S. Division flipped after hitting a landmine. There were multiple casualties, and medical teams quickly arrived to provide aid during the intense combat. Canadian soldiers landed on Courseulles Beach in Normandy on June 6, 1944. This movement was part of a large operation to pave the way for Allied advances. A street devastated during World War II. Damaged buildings, rubble, and abandoned vehicles reveal the conflict's impact. Civilians search for survivors and try to salvage what they can amid the destruction. Red Army soldiers occupy a trench in 1943, while a T-34 Soviet tank maneuvers over them during training. This exercise was designed to prepare troops for combat scenarios. A major troop movement took place in Medvezhegorsk, Russia, during the 1940s. The town was occupied by foreign forces from 1941 to 1944. Japanese Americans are shown in an internment camp in the Pacific Northwest United States in the early 1940s. During World War II, thousands of people were relocated and confined in camps due to national security concerns. Support crew members rescue a pilot from a burning plane after an emergency landing on the USS Enterprise aircraft carrier in 1943. The scene took place during World War II in the Pacific Ocean. The photo shows the Battle of Elsenborn, which took place in Belgium during the Battle of the Bulge from December 1944 to January 1945. It was one of the most critical moments of World War II, as German forces launched a massive counteroffensive to try to split Allied lines. French tanks advanced through a ruined town On May 25, 1940, local troops were retreating, trying to resist the fast-moving foreign forces. The scene shows damaged buildings and empty streets, depicting a period of great challenge. A French woman offers tea to a British soldier in Normandy in 1944. An armored tank crosses the Aisne River in France on June 21, 1940. This movement took place one day before France's official surrender. The Blitzkrieg forced the division of the country into separate administrative zones. Crowds of Parisians celebrated the arrival of Allied troops in 1944. At Place de la Concorde, a sniper opened fire from a building, spreading fear among civilians. Elizabeth Lilo Gloden is seen before judges in 1944, facing trial for aiding an escapee. She, along with her husband and mother, was convicted for involvement with resistance movements in Germany. The center of Rotterdam, Netherlands, was almost completely destroyed by a massive airstrike on May 14, 1940. The attack occurred during World War II. In November 1944, American soldiers of the 95th Infantry Division advanced toward the city of Metz, France, after heavy fighting in Mézières-les-Metz and WWII. Many lives were lost in these early clashes. The division became known as the Iron Men of Metz. British firefighters worked to extinguish fires amid the rubble of London between 1940 and 1941. They operated in challenging conditions, dealing with damaged buildings and dense smoke. Japanese Imperial Navy Special Naval Landing Forces, wearing protective masks, prepare to advance through the rubble of Shanghai, China in August 1937. American soldiers walked beside an M4 Sherman tank in Wernburg in the late 1940s. They advanced through an area hit by recent explosions. The smoke in the sky indicates air operations had taken place in the region. Two British soldiers stand beside a tank in El Alamein, Egypt, in 1942. This site was the scene of significant maneuvers during the 1940s. Evgeny Stepanovich Kobitev, a Soviet fighter, is shown after 4 years of service during the 1940s. His image reflects the psychological and physical effects the conflict had on him. In June 1944, the town of Perrier, France, was heavily targeted to delay reinforcements heading toward the landing beaches. This key crossroads was nearly destroyed. The town was liberated on July 27, 1944, by the 90th Infantry Division, which suffered major losses. Since ancient times, dogs have played vital roles in conflicts, acting as sentinels, messengers, and frontline assistants. During the 1940s, they helped carry messages, locate mines, and patrol strategic areas. Yakov Djugashvili, Joseph Stalin's eldest son, was captured in 1941. During the conflict, his father attempted 2 rescue missions. In 1943, Yakov died in captivity. On April 28, 1945, 2 figures observed the ruins of the Reich Chancellery in Berlin. The city was surrounded by Allied forces, marking the end of a challenging period for the region. Defendants at the Nuremberg trials are seen smiling during the proceedings. These sessions, which began in November 1945, were held to hold leaders of the German regime accountable. Corporal James Gregory, holding an M1 Thompson, and technician Omer Taylor smoking shelter behind an M4 Sherman tank in Geitsch, Germany. The date is December 11, 1944. In September 1944, during Operation Market Garden, thousands of troops arrived in Dutch territory. About 15,000 soldiers came by glider, while another 20,000 parachuted in. Troops, vehicles, and equipment were moved to Sicily in July 1943. This action was part of a major operation to open a new front in southern Europe. American soldiers advanced in front of the Roman Colosseum on June 5, 1944. They were part of a major maneuver during the Italian campaign. The capture of Rome was seen as a key strategic milestone for Allied forces. American troops qualified for the mission prepare for D-Day in 1944. They were ready to advance into Normandy, France, in one of the era's most significant operations. Motorcyclists cross a destroyed town in France in 1940. During this period, troop movements were rapid, aided by motorcycles for agile transport of soldiers and supplies. During the 1940s, African-American troops, including the Buffalo Soldiers and the 761st Tank Battalion, distinguished themselves in operations. They demonstrated great bravery and helped secure Allied advances. A U.S. Marine rests after 2 days of intense challenges during the 1940s. He participated in a key action in a strategic Pacific region. In the late 1940s, after France's liberation, citizens who collaborated with the occupying forces were publicly punished. Approximately 20,000 people, mostly women, had their heads shaved as a sign of disgrace. A soldier carries a donkey on his shoulders across a minefield during World War II. The unharmed donkey was transported to prevent explosive actions from endangering lives. This photo was taken in 1944 in Aachen, Germany, during World War II. Aachen became the first German city captured by Allied forces in October 1944, after intense fighting and major destruction. Lieutenant Edwin "Lucky" Wright, 19 years old, is shown in this photo with his P-47 aircraft damaged by anti-aircraft fire in Belgium in 1944. He took part in aerial missions during World War II. French soldiers carry an artillery piece through a forest on the Western Front on May 29, 1940. They prepare to fire shells at enemy positions. The 90th Division of the U.S. Third Army discovered a vault in Merkers, Germany, containing treasures and artwork. This hideout held valuable assets, including Reichsbank holdings and paintings from the Berlin Museum. Groups of people were transported by train around 1941 during the 1940s. Many believed they were being relocated for new work opportunities. American military personnel watched the signing of Japan's surrender aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo on September 2, 1945. This event marked the end of a prolonged conflict. On the coast of New Guinea in July 1943, a machine gun operator is in action aboard an American vessel. He handled the weapon to protect forces moving through the area. Reconnaissance squadrons advanced into Luxembourg on May 10, 1940, marking the start of a major offensive. They paved the way for troop entries into French territory. Belgian women bid farewell to their husbands and sons on May 11, 1940, as they departed for the front lines. The moment unfolded amid concerns over troop movements in the area. Thousands of soldiers are seen on this ship, celebrating their return home after World War II. The photo was taken between 1945 and 1946, when many troops were coming back to their home countries. This photo comes from the National Archives. It shows two American soldiers watching the village of Ouren, Belgium, during World War II. Recreating this moment at the same site was moving and brought a unique historical connection. A Finnish soldier is seen wearing special gear near the village of Niinisalo on July 1, 1942. This equipment was used to clear dense forest areas, easing troop movement. A German soldier is seen operating an anti-aircraft gun in support of troops during the 1940s in Danish territory. The offensive occurred on April 9, 1940, as part of a strategy to secure areas of northern Europe. A Finnish soldier is seen with special gear during the Continuation War from 1941 to 1944. During the 1940s in Crimea, world leaders met to discuss Europe's future. Present were British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt, and Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. Lieutenant Vernon R. Richards of the 361st Fighter Group flew his P-51D Mustang, Tikka Phi, on an escort mission in 1944. This aircraft was vital in protecting air operations over Germany. Soldiers of the 28th Maori Battalion from New Zealand performed the haka during desert training in the 1940s. This ceremonial dance, marked by intense gestures, was used to boost morale and courage. British troops trained to deactivate landmines during World War II. Deception and disorientation were key parts of the D-Day plans. One curious example was the inflatable Sherman tanks used to fool the enemy. In the photo from January 24, 1945, Private Jack McCracken from East Orange, New Jersey, watches from a tank turret in Amel, Belgium. The tank was used as a roadblock after the town was secured by the U.S. 1st Infantry Division, 1st Army. Jack, born in 1917, served in the 745th Tank Battalion. British, American, and Russian soldiers gather and share a relaxed moment on the balcony of the Berlin Chancellery in 1945. They celebrate the city's capture, marking a significant moment in history. A German officer captured an overweight British soldier during World War II. Long lines of troops and supply trucks began their march on June 18, 1944, in Normandy. This movement aimed to reinforce the forces already in the region. American soldiers transported recovered paintings from Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany during the 1940s. This work was carried out by a special unit tasked with protecting artworks and cultural heritage. In 1945, an American soldier examines items found in a church in Ellingen, Germany. These objects had been removed from various locations during the conflict. Lights in the sky are seen over Suomenlinna, a sea fortress in Helsinki, Finland during the 1940s. These beams came from anti-aircraft defenses used to protect the city in challenging times. Nearly complete Lancasters rolled off the Avro factory line in Woodford, near Manchester. This assembly line was responsible for producing aircraft essential to air operations. Paratroopers landed on snow-covered rocky outcrops in the port area and city of Narvik, Norway, in 1940. This action was part of a strategic move to secure supply routes in the region. A French sailor and 2 U.S. Army soldiers gaze at the Eiffel Tower in 1944. The city had been liberated in August 1944, marking a new chapter for its residents. During training on Parris Island, U.S. Marine recruits spent about 3 of the 7 weeks on rifle range drills. Beyond marksmanship, they also receive advanced combat tactics instruction. William Patrick Stewart Houston, son of the German leader, served in the U.S. Navy during the 1940s. He was related to a notorious historical figure. Women work in an underground munitions factory in Wirral, Merseyside during the 1940s. They produced bullets and artillery shells, directly contributing to the Allied effort. British schoolchildren took part in safety drills during the 1940s. At that time, schools conducted training sessions to teach how to stay safe in risky situations. Women train on hanging bars as part of the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, WAAC. Founded in 1942, the WAAC provided intense physical training to prepare women for support roles. On March 27, 1940, British soldiers of the Royal Irish Fusiliers assisted French farmers with spring plowing. They used a tank hitched to a plow to till the land. A soldier is seen lying on his side, holding the tripod of a capture device in an unusual way during World War II. A sidewalk cafe in La Haye-du-Puy, France, was the scene of celebration on July 15, 1944. American soldiers raised glasses to mark a special moment. An American cruiser provided support fire in southern Okinawa, Japan in 1945. This action was part of a major Pacific campaign. In Italy in 1945, actress Marlene Dietrich sits at a piano surrounded by troops gathered to watch her performance. She was invited to entertain Allied soldiers during this period. Soldiers of the Black Watch, a prominent Scottish regiment, train on England's south coast in 1940. They perform parachute jumps, tactical maneuvers, and physical drills. A team works on cleaning the barrel of a Crusader tank in El Arousa, Tunisia during the 1940s. This procedure was crucial to ensure the equipment's proper function. A Japanese poster depicts President Roosevelt with an appearance resembling a cinema horror character. The image was created to make an impact on American audiences during the 1940s. Soldiers of the 28th Infantry Division from Pennsylvania marched down the Champs-Élysées in Paris on August 29, 1944. This parade followed the city's liberation. A billboard warns Manhattan Project workers in 1945 in Los Alamos, New Mexico, to keep their work secret. The project was responsible for weapons development during World War II. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel inspects the defenses on the Normandy coast, France, in 1944. Rommel was one of the top German military commanders during World War II, responsible for preparing the fortifications against the Allied invasion. The SS Robert E. Peary was built and launched in just 4 days and 15 hours, setting a record at the time. This photo shows the ship under construction during World War II. A warehouse at the Solar Airfield in Stavanger, Norway, holds about 30,000 rifles seized from German forces after their surrender in 1945. These weapons were collected near the end of World War II, when Germany surrendered to the Allies. An operational map at the RAF Coastal Command Headquarters in Northwood, Hertfordshire, England, on July 9, 1943. The map was used to plan and track aerial patrol and combat missions over the Atlantic during the World War II. Military motorcycles were for sale in 1946, shortly after World War II ended. It was estimated that the total value of surplus military goods available at the time ranged from 25 to 150 billion US dollars. Rows of retired American B-17 Flying Fortress aircraft are parked at Kingman Airfield, Arizona in 1945. These planes were widely used in strategic bombing missions during World War II. People collected metal to support the war effort in 1942 during World War II. The materials were used to manufacture military equipment and supplies. A 1943 photo of the Queensway Tunnel in England, used during World War II as an air raid shelter. Located in Liverpool, the tunnel, originally built for vehicle traffic, became a vital refuge for thousands of civilians during the intense German air attacks known as the Blitz. Dutch civilians celebrate in the streets of Eindhoven in September 1944. The city welcomed Allied forces in a moment of great joy for the local population. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.